Let's go to KDP. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Sarah Sutton. I'm an indie author of 6 young adult romance books. My latest one is titled Christmas as We Know It, and it is a Christmas romance, and it is linked down below. Welcome back to my channel. I prefaced it a little bit in Monday's video, but today's video is going to be whether or not I made my money back on my 6 books. Yes, all 6 books. We're going to be going over how much it cost to make them and whether or not I made my money back in a yes or no question and with little details. So before we hop in to the video fully, I have some very exciting news. We actually have our very first sponsor on this channel on today's video. This video is sponsored by Hot Ghostwriter, and they're a one-stop shop book production company for authors and self-publishers. And later on in the video, I'm going to talk about an awesome opportunity they're offering for authors and aspiring writers, so stay tuned because literally it's so cool. And thank you to Hot Ghostwriter for being our very first sponsor on this channel. Now I suppose, without further ado, let's hop in. So like I said in Monday's video, I prefaced that I was going to be making this video talking about whether or not I made my money back on all of my books. For me, going into the whole self-publishing journey, my thoughts were not on ROI, which is in return on investment. I went into self-publishing What Are Friends For thinking I would only publish or sell 50 copies, and mostly those would be to like friends and family. So I didn't have high hopes going into this. Once What Are Friends For kind of sold right out the gate, like I think I had almost 200 copies sold my first month of publishing. That was when I started to think, okay, maybe I could turn this into a little bit of a business. And so with any business, you always have to take a return on investment into consideration. That way you're not blowing money when you won't make it back, that sort of thing. So for each book that I published, I obviously had hopes that I would make my money back. But I will say there's one book on this list that's not the case, and we're going to talk about it. Just to be clear, I'm not going to be sharing actual numbers in today's video. I share those numbers over on Patreon in my self-publishing tier. It's $5 a month. I also only calculated from KDP and Draft to Digital. I did not calculate from Ingram Spark or ACX. ACX, I haven't made too much money. I haven't sold too many audiobooks, and then Ingram Spark, the reporting kind of is not my favorite to figure out because I always get confused. So we're just going to be talking about the Amazon and Draft to Digital numbers, even though I'm no longer in Draft to Digital, but yes. To recap on that, I did switch out of Draft to Digital earlier this year. In September, I switched from Draft to Digital to going to KU, and I honestly credit KU to a lot of my sales. These past 3 months, I've been consistently making more money than I normally do, which is a good thing for my business. Love that for me. But it also made some of the books profitable. So let's dive in. Like I've mentioned, who knows how many times in this video, I have 6 books, and let's recap. We have What Are Friends For, which is a friends to lovers romance set in the winter time. We have Out of My League, which is a fake relationship baseball romance set in the summertime. We have If the Room Fits, and it is a Halloween romance, second chance romance, very cute, very short, my shortest book ever. We then have Can't Catch My Breath, which published earlier this year in January, and it is a winter opposites attract drama. I love it. Two Kinds of Us is next, and it is a hidden identities opposites attract romance. The main character is a lead singer, and I absolutely love him. And then the final book that I have published is Christmas as We Know It, and it is a Christmas young adult romance. 6 books. 6 ways, yes or no, did they make their money back? Overall, yes, I have made my money back because there are a few books that have been more profitable than the other ones, and so as a whole, I have made my money back. However, we are going to be diving into the individual books. So let's start with What Are Friends For. Let me pull up my screenshot because I went to film this video and I realized, oh my gosh, I don't actually remember how much What Are Friends For cost. I have a text message. What are friends for? I did the cost analysis video, which I will have linked down below. I did the cost analysis video, so without vellum, this book actually costs $1,601.70, which is a lot of money for a debut novel, which is a lot of money for a book that I did not think I was going to make any money back on. So I've made this comment before, but I'm like, wow, Sarah, great business move. Great business move. What Are Friends For was actually meant to be a trial and error book. Try out self-publishing for the first time and like see how it goes so I can publish out of my league. But it ended up doing so well. I spent about $1,600 on this book, and the question is, did I get my money back? And the answer is yes. And I'll give you like a little like insider information. I made my money back by almost $10,000. So, yes, this book made its money back. Yes, it did. And I think there are several reasons for it. Friends to lovers tropes are really, really good. You'll see them everywhere. I actually have done 2 at this point because I just love them so much, and readers love them as well. So I think that helped with the sales. And I also think that since it was the first in my book series, that helped a lot too, because when someone's going to start a series, they're going to start obviously at book 1, even though, like my series, it is a standalone series, so you don't have to read them in order. More often than not, people will still read them in order. So I think that book acts as the funnel to the other books. Like everyone's coming in at book 1 and then they're finding their way through. So it makes sense that What Are Friends For had actually, it was the most profitable book out of all my books, which is surprising to me because in my first year of self-publishing, well, I'm going to save that for another video because I do have a video that's talking about year 1 of self-publishing versus year 2 of self-publishing and like how both years of self-publishing feel like that, because that's going to be a whole video because I have been publishing for almost 2 years. Crazy sauce. Anyway, moving on to Out of My League. I watched the cost analysis video back, and Out of My League was actually my cheapest book to publish, mostly because I had been in conversations with a publishing company, so I had been going back and forth with them for edits. So I felt like the book was pretty edited on that front, but it just needed to be proofread and all those kinds of things. So I didn't spend too much on an editor. But once again, that video will be linked down below. But without vellum, I keep saying that because it's on my like text here, and in the video I counted vellum and then I didn't count vellum, but we're not going to be counting vellum anymore. Vellum is a formatting software, whole thing. So if you're curious to learn more, links down below. But the cost for this book was actually $408.90. So my cheapest book ever. Actually, cheapest book by only like $8 because Christmas As We Know It was $416. So that's kind of funny. So it was the cheapest book that I published, and whether or not I made my money back, I would say absolutely. If you didn't know, Out of My League has the fake relationship trope, which is a very, very, very good trope. I think enemies to lovers, friends to lovers, and fake relationship tropes always do well, I think. I mean, I haven't written enemies to lovers, so I wouldn't know that front, but the fake relationship trope did very well, and I would say What Are Friends For and Out of My League were actually tied for the longest time in terms of popularity. And it just makes my little heart happy because that book has been through so much, and it's just so nice to see that it is flourishing, you know, and it did make its money back overall. The next book that we have on our roster is If the Broom Fits, and this book, for how small it is, it was kind of expensive to self-publish. It cost me $933.85. I probably paid a little bit too much for an editor, or paid more for an editor than I needed to, so that's probably why it cost that much. And honestly, this was another move about return on investment that I probably should have been a bit wiser about, because it is a Halloween romance. I haven't seen personally too many Halloween romances out in the wild, so I didn't really have much to base it off of. I didn't really have numbers and comps to compare. Putting so much money into a book that I didn't even know how it would do, risky, because a lot of people get into the Christmas spirit. They love romances set in Christmas time. Halloween is more like the spooky time, you know. It's not necessarily, you don't think of Halloween and think of romance. That also probably had a little bit of a disconnect in people's minds and readers' minds. So like, you know, looking back, don't know if I would have spent that much on that book. I remember in my cost analysis video that I stated the like total, and I'm like, oh, that's a lot. Like in my head, like that's a lot of money. Was that wise? Probably not. No. Did this book make its money back? To be quite honest, this was the book that I was most nervous about. I didn't think it would have. It's been out for over a year at this point. I published it October 6th, 2020, so it has been out over a year, so it has had time to accumulate. So it's had 2 Octobers to like flourish. Whether or not it made its money back, yes, it did, but I will say it was kind of close. Like for draft to digital for all of 2021, If the Brim Fits made $97.95. Sounds like a lot of money because it's a good chunk of change, but in terms of like return on investment, yikes. However, between 2020 and 2021, it has made its money back, but like I said, just barely. Okay, time to talk about today's sponsor, which is Hot Ghostwriter. So I'm really trying not to like geek out on the fact that there's actually a sponsor for today's video. I feel like on the inside, I'm just screaming. So Hot Ghostwriter is actually a book production company offering services from book writing, editing, copy editing, developmental editing, audiobook production, book design services, and things like that. They work with major and small publishers to publish hundreds of novels at any given time, and now they're actually looking for aspiring writers to join their team. So if you love to write and you want to get paid for it, they're looking to add new freelance writer talent to their growing team of 200 writers. So let's talk about the benefits. It's full-time paid freelance work, which I've talked about freelance work in the past on this channel. I have freelance work. I do manuscript critiques for freelance, and it is such an awesome side income to supplement book sales. Because as much as I would love to rely on book sales alone, like I've mentioned so far, some of the books have only made their money back barely. So it's not exactly something that I can do right now, hopefully in the future. But with freelance gigs like this, it's perfect supplemental income. And it's a chance to gain professional experience as a writer. You get the opportunity to hone in your craft and get paid while you do it, which is awesome. And there's a cool chance to collaborate with other talented writers and editors from all over the world. So if you're a prolific writer who has 20 to 30 hours per week, you can get paid up to $2,000 a month with weekly payments as soon as you're hired. All you need to get started is a love for writing and a few of your best fiction samples. I have a link in the description box if you want to check out Hot Ghostwriter and see what they have to offer, and learn a little bit more about the job description details. And thank you so much once again to Hot Ghostwriter for sponsoring today's video. Let's hop back in. Moving on to Can't Catch My Breath. And I gotta find my other sheet because I forgot how much it was. We talked about it in Monday's video, so I'm not gonna linger too long here, but it was, for a recap, if you missed Monday's video or if you forgot, it was $1,384.06. And I published this book in January, so it's had almost a year to accumulate some money. And the question is, did it make its money back? And the answer is yes, but barely. I will be honest with this one. I'll be transparent again with this one as well as what everyone's for. This one actually, where is that number? So it's only made about $350 of profit, which is still profit. So I'm taking it for a win. I think the reason why this one might not have done as well as it could have is because there wasn't really an established trope. I think if I had established the trope a bit better, like a more like popular one, it probably would have done so well. It does have some serious themes, touching on grief and things like that. So I feel like it could have been a good substantial book if I had established a stronger trope. But you know, as it is, I just love this book. I think this is one of my favorite books that I've self-published, and like, don't tell my other babies that. I just love the characters. I love Vincent. I love Adeline. They work so well together. But yes, it did make its money back. So, next book, second to last, we have Two Kinds of Us. So, Two Kinds of Us, I also mentioned it in Monday's video, but it published in June, apparently published on June 9th. How do I not know this? I don't know. It just doesn't sound right in my head, but obviously it must be right. I talked about it in Monday's video, but Two Kinds of Us actually cost $1,089 to publish, and it's been out for about 6 months. Now, did it make its money back? And the answer is no. No, guys, no, it hasn't made its money back. And honestly, it's only been out for 6 months. These other ones have been out for a while longer, so it's not that surprising, and it's the last book in my series, so it's also not surprising that way. If people get stuck on book 3, they don't read it through, totally makes sense. So no, it does not make its money back, which is very unfortunate, but I'm sure it will. It's pretty close, to be honest. I will be, like I said, I'll be sharing the numbers on Patreon, but it is pretty close to making its money back. And if it costs $1,089 to like produce, you can kind of fill in the blanks as to where it probably is. And I guess we're gonna talk about Christmas as we know it, even though it's only been out for a week and a half at this point, almost 2 weeks, because I'm filming this video on a Sunday. It is a Christmas romance, so that genre poppin' right now. That niche is poppin' right now. So did I make my money back already? Because like that sounds insane, right? You know what? I actually haven't checked in like a hot minute. So it's, well, no, it's only been a week and a half. So it's like maybe like 2 days. But let's check. So it costs like $416, correct? I probably should have remembered that, but I just can't. I didn't write it down, so. Let's go to KDP. In a week and a half, it's made its money back. What? Like, I can't even, like, wrap my head around it. Oh my gosh. That's so funny that I looked on camera, like, ah! Okay, wow. Wow. Like I said, Christmas romances, they're popping. I did not expect it to be popping this much. We're already in profit for it. That's so exciting. Well, yeah, what a fun way to end off today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you found it interesting whether or not I made my money back, and I hope you found it a little exciting about like certain books. So yeah, there's only been one book so far that we haven't made our money back on, and that was Two Kinds of Us, and it was only published like 6 months ago. So it definitely has some time to make its money back. Like I said, we were close. And if you're curious about the specific numbers, that is going to be over on Patreon. So thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you once again to Hot Ghostwriter for sponsoring today's video. Like I said, the link will be down in the description box below, so go check it out if you are curious about checking out this freelance writing gig. Honestly, $2,000 a month, I might have to apply. It's also a great experience, and it's great supplemental income. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I'm Sarah Sutton. I'm an indie author of 6 young adult romance books, and 5 of them have made their money back, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye! Two Kinds of Us is next, and it is a Two Kinds of Us is next, and it is a hidden identity. Two Kinds of Us is next, and it is a hidden. Why can I not say this? Why can't I not say this? Okay.